together in the same room to do it. Okay, so each person can do a unit test of his or her own design before you can get together and test the whole system. Now, once you implement the components, you get into the system integration. So if a team of 2 is developing a project, everybody will take components, you develop or you implement the component, you test it yourself, but you have to come together and integrate the system. That means putting the component together. Now in this phase, all the design team have to work together to make sure that the system or the component, they talk to each other, they are coherent. Now often we require going back to the implementation, maybe modifying a little bit of the software or modifying some of the hardware. So it's gonna be a kind of going back between implementation and system integration. And this will involve a lot of testing and make sure that the product works correctly. So this takes you back to where? To the requirements, right? So you wanna make sure that when you integrate the system, it's gonna meet the requirement that you started with in the beginning. While doing the test case development, you need to develop what we call a test case. A test case would have a name, a date, the purpose of that test case. That means either you're going to test a requirement or test functionalities that is not included in the requirement. Who developed that test case? Precondition, that means you should have certain precondition for you to be able to test the test case. The post conditions, what do you expect the system to do when you do this test? And then the pass and fail. Did the system pass or fail your test case? So you're expected to develop the test cases for your project and show how you test the project. Okay? It should be formalized as I show in this presentation. You just copy it and develop it in a Word document and think about all the possible test cases that you can think about. Now verification. In industry, they have a verification team where they verify if the system is meeting all the requirements or not. So the verification team is in general different than the designer team. Why is that? Because when you design, you're always amazed with what you've done, right? And you don't see all the defect that's you have in the system. So it's why you have another team that can take a look at the system, test it, and find all the bugs and the problems that exist with the system. Preferably, the verification team should not know exactly the details of the architecture, but they should discover it or through the testing. And then you have verification hands-off. That means when you finish verification, you have to develop hands-off documents. Now, if the system fails certain verification steps, it happens often in industry even, the development team will integrate the system, make sure it works, give it to the verification team, and then verification will find that there's something wrong with the system, right? What do? Now you take it back to the design team, and the design will go and correct it and send it back. So, and then you hand off to manufacturing, where the designer has finished the design and the implementation, and it's about time to do high production in number and start selling the product. The manufacturing has handoff document that has bill of material, assembly instructions, and how to use the product. Sometimes you can have even troubleshooting information and test plan and test checklist with of the documents or the product. Now, how to distribute the project tasks? Given the specification developed and all related tasks, given the requirements, specification, you're gonna design the system, right? You're gonna develop the architecture of the system in terms of hardware and software. And basically what you have here is the team need to get together and distribute the tasks among the team. Okay, and each task will be associated with certain block of the design of the architecture. Now, each team member should implement a related task and do unit test by himself or herself. Each team member should develop a test case for other members' task. This is the way you should do it. So, if you're integrating a motor and the other person is doing a keypad and LCD, the person who is doing the motor will test the keypad and LCD, and the person who is doing the LCD will test the motor, right? So you swap basically the roles in here. And all members should come up with an integration test, and this should be in the report. Okay? So, any questions?
Yes.
Yes, you had a question.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
You didn't write it down?
I had two questions.
Your question was, you haven't covered something, next coming
Yeah.
labs.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The first one was how you're gonna learn about this, you said, or about what? About the design phases, or about what you need in the project?
Yes.
Which one?
He's probably trying to say that, what if there's something that we're gonna do in another lab that you might need for the project, but we
Okay.
haven't done yet?
All right. That's a good question. If you need to develop a feature or something that you still did not cover in the course, what you need to do? You need to do a little bit of research. All right. So go read about it. If you have difficulty, talk to Ilyas about it.
And we already posted the labs as well. And also we have YouTube's.
Are we using eight?
It's up to you. It's up to you. In general, you want to use both of them.
At the same time?
You can use both of them at the same time, or
Okay, so
and I've seen projects in the previous lectures, previous courses, that the students use both of them.
yeah, I also had another question about what you want the project to look like. Like at the end, like an example of what usually happens. Like should it be like some sort of encapsulated box, or should it be like an application that we actually use, like a phone?
It's really up to you. That will be defining the proposal. So the proposal, you're gonna tell me exactly what you're gonna do.
Give an example.
Yes, we have examples. Ilyas, can you show?
Yeah, sometimes an encapsulated box.
Really?